Believe that every mistake is a valuable lesson. When I was 25, I made so many mistakes that I sometimes wondered if I'd ever get anything right. I failed my university exams 3 times, believe me, and I was rejected from more than 30 jobs, including one at KFC. But I've never regretted those failures. In fact, each one taught me something new, something that helped shape the person and entrepreneur I am today. That's what I tell every young person. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because every mistake is your teacher. Especially in the early years of your career, it's essential to experiment and take risks. The sooner you fail, the faster you learn and the stronger you become. When you go through these difficulties, you realize that success doesn't come without obstacles. It's like I always say, success is built on the mistakes you overcome. There's no easy path, but every stumble you value as a learning experience is a step closer to your goal. I clearly remember each of those rejections I faced. They left their mark, but they never stopped me. When I look back, I realize that's exactly what made me stronger. Making mistakes didn't make me retreat. On the contrary, it pushed me forward with greater determination. With every no I received, I gained more confidence that something greater was waiting for me. What kept me going was the certainty that if I didn't persist, who else would? If you're just starting out, remember that failures aren't the end of the line. They're the beginning of something new. What differentiates people who dream from those who achieve is how they deal with their mistakes. So every time you make a mistake, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Because it's in the midst of challenges that you'll discover your true strength. Every mistake you value is a stepping stone toward success. When I was young, I didn't know much about business. What drove me was curiosity and the desire to learn. But one thing I realized early on is that the leader you follow makes all the difference in your career. I didn't choose my first opportunities based on the company's name, but because of the leaders I admired. I've always believed that more important than the company you work for is the boss you follow. I learned so much from my first mentors that it shaped my vision of the future and innovation. Working with people who share your dreams is one of the greatest blessings you can have in your career. A good leader isn't just one who commands, but one who inspires. They challenge you to think outside the box, ask questions, and reinvent yourself. This is what I found in my first mentors, people who showed me that the future belongs to those who dare to dream and work hard. That made me understand it's not just about what you do, but about how you grow alongside someone who believes in you. I remember thinking several times, if not now, when? If not me, who? It's this kind of mentality that a good leader instills in you, pushing you to be the best version of yourself. Following a quality leader isn't just about learning to be a good professional, it's about becoming a better person. This goes beyond technical skills. It's about developing resilience, vision, and above all, the will to make a difference. You can be sure the lessons you learn alongside a good leader are the ones you carry for the rest of your life. It was these lessons that helped me form my own vision of leadership based on inspiration rather than command. The leader who challenges you to leave your comfort zone is the one who prepares you to build something bigger in the future. That's the real strength of quality leadership. So, if you're at the beginning of your journey, don't worry so much about the name of the company you're in. Ask yourself, am I being inspired by the leader I follow? Because it's this inspiration that will shape the professional and, more importantly, the human being you will become. If you're under 30, my advice is simple. Follow your intuition and explore new paths. When I was young, I didn't know much about technology, but I sensed that the internet had enormous potential. It was this intuition that led me to start something nobody else saw at the time. The uncertainties you face today will be the stories that tell your success tomorrow. When you take risks while you're young, the possibilities are endless. Youth is the perfect time to experiment, try new things, and dare. When I started out, everyone thought I was crazy for believing the internet could be so big. But I believed in my vision, and that's exactly what you should do. Don't limit yourself by other people's expectations. If you have a dream, pursue it with everything you've got, even if no one else believes in it. After all, entrepreneurs must have vision and dreams. Without that, they're just sailing aimlessly. It's interesting to realize that when you're young, the risks are smaller than they seem. I've always known that failures are part of the journey, so why not take a chance? That's the beauty of being a young entrepreneur. The world is open to your ideas, and if you make a mistake, you still have time to get up and try again. The most important thing is not to be afraid to take the first step, because, as I always say, if everything is ready, it's too late. When I reached my 40s, I realized it was time to focus on what I really knew how to do well. But before that, I needed to explore, experiment, and discover where my true abilities lay. This process of discovery only happens when you allow yourself to make mistakes and learn. So, while you're young, don't waste the opportunity to discover new talents, new passions, and perhaps even a new purpose. Remember, youth passes quickly, but the lessons you learn from taking risks and following your intuition will stay with you forever. Don't wait for the right moment to come along, make your moment happen. After all, when you're young and have a dream, as I often say, you never really feel poor. You have the wealth of vision and energy, and that's worth more than anything else. When I reached 40, I realized it was time to focus on what I was really good at. During my younger years, I took risks, tried new things, made a lot of mistakes, and learned from every one of them. But at 40, the game changed. I knew I needed to consolidate my strengths and focus on what made me stand out. Entrepreneurship isn't just about dreaming it. It's about knowing where to put your energy to get the best results. So, at this stage of life, it's crucial to identify your best skills and work on them. I always say that innovation doesn't mean radically changing what you do, but rather improving what you already do well. People often think innovation is about doing something totally different, but in fact, true innovation can lie in how you improve on what you've already mastered. That's what I did at Alibaba. We didn't start with a revolutionary idea, but with something simple that became bigger as we perfected our operations and strategies. At 40, you should avoid big risks and instead focus on expanding what you already do best. In my case, I realized that our greatest asset was helping small businesses grow, and that was the focus I put all my attention on. If you want to keep growing at this stage of life, you don't have to change everything. Just refine and strengthen the skills you already have. If you want to catch the rabbit, as I often say, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. This phase was also the time when I understood the importance of delegating. I had already learned a lot, but I couldn't do everything on my own. Focusing on your strengths also means knowing what you're really not so good at and letting others with complementary skills help take the business forward. A good entrepreneur isn't one who tries to do everything, but one who knows where to put their energy and how to empower their team to do the rest. If you're in your 40s, focus on what you do best. Don't get scattered with new ideas that could take you away from your true strength. As you mature as an entrepreneur, clarity of purpose and a focus on your best skills are what will really drive your success forward. When I reached 50, I realized it was time to start looking at the next generation. Over the years, I've built a successful career and company. But I've understood that the future doesn't belong to MIT, belongs to the young people who come after. They have energy, new ideas, and a different way of looking at the world. As leaders, it's our duty to give them the tools and support they need to innovate even more than we did. I'm an optimist. From the beginning of my journey, I always believed that something good was waiting for me, even in the most difficult times. When I failed exams, got rejected for jobs, or faced challenges at Alibaba, I held on to the belief that the best was yet to come. Optimism is what keeps us going, even when the obstacles seem insurmountable. It's not about ignoring problems, but believing that we are capable of overcoming them. In many situations, optimism is what has given me the strength to keep going. When I started Alibaba, I spent 3 years without a profit and heard countless criticisms. The difficulties were enormous, but my optimistic vision that the internet would change China never wavered. I always look to the future with hope and determination. Optimism is not a passive feeling, an active force that drives you to act, to persist, and to believe that if you keep working hard, things will get better. The truth is that optimism is essential for any entrepreneur. You'll face challenges that seem impossible. You'll hear a lot of no's, but it's optimism that will help you keep going when others give up. You'll keep going because you believe that success is just around the corner. I've always believed that even when everything seemed against me, there was something greater waiting for me. It's this mentality that separates those who achieve success from those who give up halfway through. I remember thinking many times, if not now, when? If not me, who? This kind of thinking kept me optimistic in times of uncertainty. Because optimism isn't about closing your eyes to reality, but rather seeing the opportunities hidden in the problems. If you believe that things can get better, you'll work for it. And in the end, optimism always wins. So, if you're facing a difficult time, remember, optimism is what keeps you going. Believe that something good is coming, and keep fighting for your dreams. When you maintain a positive outlook, even in the worst situations, you end up creating the conditions for success. The future belongs to the optimists because they are the ones who never stop trying. Music. When I decided to become an entrepreneur, it wasn't just to create a business for myself. I chose to work for myself, but also to work for society. True success for me comes when you create something that benefits other people. That's what has driven Alibaba from the start. Our goal has always been to serve small businesses, to help them grow and prosper. Entrepreneurship is, above all, about service, and the more people you impact positively, the greater your success. I believe that if you want to build something lasting, you need to have a greater purpose. At Alibaba, we knew we weren't just creating an e-commerce platform. We were creating opportunities for millions of small entrepreneurs across China. This sense of mission is what guided us through the toughest times. And that's why I always say that if you make your customers happy, you're on the right track. Entrepreneurship is about serving others, not just making money. An entrepreneur's success is not only measured by financial growth, but by the value they create for others. When you start thinking about how you can help other people, your company naturally becomes stronger. At Alibaba, our vision was simple. If we help our customers grow, we grow together. And this approach has proved extremely effective. Creating value for others is the foundation of any thriving business. I remember many moments when, even when things seemed to be going wrong, what kept us focused was the certainty that we were doing something bigger than ourselves. We weren't just building a company. We were helping to transform the lives of millions of people. That's why I say that entrepreneurship is service. When you put the needs of others first, success comes naturally. So, if you want to be a great entrepreneur, ask yourself, how can I better serve my customers, my community, and the world around me? True success comes when you positively impact people's lives. And in the end, that's what makes the difference between a business that just survives and a business that truly thrives. I firmly believe that success only happens when you create value for others. When we founded Alibaba, our focus was never on how we would become a big company. The goal has always been to help small businesses grow and connect with the world. That was our purpose from the start, and it's what has led us to success. When you focus on creating real value for your customers and partners, financial results come naturally. Creating value means thinking beyond profit. At Alibaba, we have always believed that if our customers were satisfied and growing, we would thrive too. This has created a relationship of mutual trust where everyone wins. Many entrepreneurs make the mistake of focusing only on financial return, but forget that true success comes when you solve other people's problems. When you become indispensable to your customers, they will never leave you. I always encourage entrepreneurs to ask themselves, how can I help my customers succeed? At the end of the day, that's the most important question. If you can create value for the people around you, whether through an innovative product, an excellent service, or a memorable experience, you'll be building the foundations of a business that will last. That's how we built Alibaba. Our mission has always been to empower small entrepreneurs, and this has been reflected in our growth. The true strength of a business lies in its ability to impact lives, and that impact comes from the value you deliver. If you want to build something lasting, you end. Just think about how you're going to make a profit. You need to focus on how you're going to improve your customers' lives. That's the kind of thinking that leads to sustainable success. I remember many times when, instead of worrying about our bottom line, we were more focused on how we could help our partners achieve their goals. So, if you're building a business or have an idea in mind, focus on creating value. Ask yourself, what can I do to improve the lives of the people who use my product or service? When you put the needs of others first, success comes as a natural consequence. And that's the basis of any prosperous, long-lasting business. One thing I've learned along my journey is that fear is one of the biggest barriers to success. Many people have great ideas, but let the fear of failure paralyze them. My advice is simple. Start before you're ready. If you wait for the perfect moment, it will never come.